Silicon Valley, technology, art, green, and sustainability.
Okay. One's over there somewhere. Turn it off. Nice. Welcome to another episode of Silicon Valley Tech, Art, Green, and Sustainability. Today I have Cassie Kifer, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, with me.
Kifer, that's
Kifer.
Cool.
And she's a blogger, and she's written a new book, The Secret Places of San Jose. And we're gonna chat about this, but before we chat about your book, tell us about yourself. Tell us, what you do, what brought you to this, what got you into blogging. Are you from the area?
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you so much for having me, Heather. I'm excited to share more about my book and my story. I'm the author of the book Secret San Jose, A Guide to the Weird, Wonderful, and Obscure. I'm a writer and communications consultant. I've worked for a number of different organizations over the years. And I'm also an urban planner. I got my master's degree in urban and regional planning from UC Irvine, and that's something that informs my love of cities and of places, and I love exploring different communities, understanding how they work, how people get around, and I've lived in, I'm originally from the East Coast, but I've lived in California for about 20 years and here in San Jose for about 15 years. I live here with my husband and my rescue dog, Riley.
I thought I heard a little bit of an accent, but I wasn't, was it New York or New Jersey? Or?
Upstate New York, actually.
New York,
yeah.
Okay.
In Pennsylvania, so.
And then did you move here with your husband? Did you meet him here? Or?
No, my husband's a software developer, and I met him in San Francisco when I was living in Los Angeles. So I moved up here from LA 15 years ago this year. And
wow.
I love it. I love San Jose.
Yeah, and I love that you have a rescue dog too.
Yes.
Great thing.
Yeah.
We're always rescuing pets. We almost rescued another one in the park today.
Oh dear.
a little stray Chihuahua, Pomeranian, or some kind of mix. It was so cute.
Oh, thank you.
So let's talk about the book. Tell us about it and how you, how you got involved in this venture, and also tell us a little bit about your blogging too and how you got involved in that.
Yeah, sure, exactly. So in 2012, I started a travel blog called Ever in Transit to share stories and photos from my adventures, both here in California and around the world.
It's called Ever in Transit.
Ever in Transit.
And is that still published, or?
It is still available. I'm not posting on it frequently any longer.
Well, nobody's traveling right now anyway. Right?
Yes, and I'm a little busy with the book and other things like that, and my new social media outlets. But I did a bunch of freelance travel writing over the years, and a couple of years ago, I got an email from a publisher, Reedy Press, that was working on doing a series of books about secret cities, and they were looking for a writer. They knew they wanted to do a book in this series about San Jose, and they were looking for a local travel writer. So they reached out to our local visitors bureau, Team San Jose, and for asking for a recommendation of a local travel writer, and they referred me to it. They told me about the project and invited me to share weird, wonderful, and obscure places from our community, and I jumped at it.
And what was that process like? Did you meet with them first, or was it all just communication over?
Yeah, it was all remote.
Over the internet?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All through the internet. But when they told me about the project and showed me one of the recent books, Secret San Francisco had just come out at that time, written by a local San Francisco-based author. When I saw the book, I knew that was something I'd love to do for San Jose, to share places that I love and things that I think are weird and wonderful about it.
Well, I'm going to hold up the book again. I don't know if we can get a cover close-up of the jacket of the book, but this is a great. I love the front. We're gonna take a look at this closer in a couple minutes with a photo of what this actually is. So what was the process like? How long did it take for the discovery and the research of it?
Yeah, of course. So I think it took a little bit over a year and a little bit over a year from the time in which I accepted the project to turning in my final draft, which happened right at the beginning of the pandemic. So there were a lot of challenges involved with that.
So your final draft went in right at the beginning, like February,
2 weeks
March
after
2020.
everything shut down, April 1st. So the last couple weeks before my deadline was very challenging because it was very hard to focus at this time when things were changing. Everything was changing all the time. Things were shutting down. It was a scary time, and it was hard to focus at that point. But in retrospect, I'm glad I had that project to focus on, and I had something to.
Well, at least you weren't moving at that time too.
Yes, I was not moving.
Right.
Oh my God,
That's a blessing.
I cannot imagine. There was too much else going on, but.
Yeah.
But yeah, it turned out to be a blessing because it was a good time to sit down and focus and keep myself distracted.
And you went to all the places in your book.
Yes, absolutely.
And how many are there again?
Yeah, so the book features 85 stories about places around our community and photos that I took of all of the places.
And again, how long was that process? Did it take you a year?
Over a year, yeah.
Wow.
Over a year.
Not a year and a half, only a year.
Yeah.
Seems like it would take longer than that, right?
Yeah.
So let's pull up the first photo here. And this is, I think, is this you holding it up
yes.
in your,
that was my first shipment of books when I opened my first box
in your
of
home?
books. I was very excited. Yes.
And then to the left there is the same image, but the backside of the image of what's on your cover. And can people in the audience guess what that is? We can go to the next slide. And on the next slide, you'll see there's the statue at San Jose State. 1968 Olympic runners were booted out because they took a moment to recognize their other folks that were having, I think Martin Luther King had just died, and they were recognizing other folks. So years later, they were finally admitted into the Hall of Fame, the Olympic Hall of Fame. And I go by the statue all the time, and it's funny because I was looking for photos and looking, and all I could find was the one from the back, and I've taken hundreds of photos of it, sitting there with the dog. References for this photo are down below, San Jose State blog and a San Jose State. So if people want to look in that further, but they can also look at your short story in the book, which is very entertaining. We could take that photo down.
Yeah.
So those are just one of the many delightful that if you don't know, you don't know. Like I went to San Jose State, so I know. You go by there, you go with the dog.
But not everybody else knows. The importance of this inspiring act of civil disobedience that they took on. They took a lot of risks, risked their career to bring that up in 1968. Yeah. So that statue. I think the interesting thing about that is that it still today is a gathering point on the city of on San Jose State's campus. So any kind of social justice protests that is happening, any kind of gathering in the community, people gather around that statue because it's so inspiring and such an important symbol of activism and standing up for what's right.
And it's funny because San Jose State, there's a lot of firsts that happen. Earth Day, the first Earth Day actually happened there. So also in the early 70s. So it's interesting. So tell us more about the book and tell us. Share with us what you want about that and the experience of putting it together. Would you do it again?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's
Another
been
city?
a really wonderful experience. San
Book two?
Jose is the city. I do have a book 2 in the works, but I think we can talk about that later. But it was a really wonderful experience to be able to highlight places that I think are under-recognized and stories that I don't think are told enough. So it was a lot of fun to talk to people. You asked about the process. Over the course of the year that I was working on the book, I talked to everyone that I met and asked them, what are the places that you love here in San Jose? What are the places that you think are people don't know enough about? So a lot of people shared stories that I wound up including in the book.
I grew up in the Bay Area in San Jose and Saratoga, both cities. After my father passed, I lived with my sister downtown San Jose, and there was some interesting things in there. It's like, wait a sec, I didn't know that. What was, again, the most exciting part about it? Was it working with the people? What was the most exciting?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, working with people, talking to people about places. Generally, my favorite thing about being a travel writer and writing this book, getting the opportunity to write this book, is because I love to share places and talk about places with
And your
people.
hometown.
And my hometown, yeah, a hometown that I don't think enough people talk about. And we live here, we love it, but not enough people, share what it is about the community that they love. So I was very excited to help to promote, some of the community that I love and that I choose to live in.
Was there anything that caught you off guard and really surprised you about putting this book together, or the places or the people?
Yeah, well, there were a lot of the places that were kind of unusual and did surprise me. Yeah, as far as the process, it's just there's never enough time. I wish I could have had a lot more time to share, additional places, and perhaps there will be an edition number 2. So
let's pull up the next slide. This surprised me in this. The Fredericksburg Brewery, 1869 is the circa of these photos, and there's original bottle, and there's more information there. That's really interesting. We can close that down. Share a little bit about that and what that was like to research that.
Yeah, of course. So the Santa Clara Valley has a long history of making, both making wine as well as making beer. So the breweries that are popping up all the time now, that's not a new thing. We've had lots of
we like
beer and winemaking
in Santa Clara County
for more than exactly. So yeah, we had some of the first European commercial grapes were grown here and imported from Europe. So in terms of grape growing, German immigrants brought beer brewing traditions with them, and the Fredericksburg Brewery was a really remarkable castle-like structure on the Alameda. That was one of the biggest breweries on the West Coast. They imported all the way up and down the West Coast, down into Mexico as well, for a long time, and it was a really remarkable place. There is still a wall remaining from that original structure at J. Lore's tasting room, right off the Alameda there.
I like in the book, I think you said we're a boozy county. I like that.
On that particular site where the J. Lore is right now, there's been beer or wine being produced for over, I think it's 125
and that's
years.
We all know about Paul Masson Winery and the missionaries that had to have their wine for their service. So the beer part really surprised me to learn that. Technology, is there a particular technology that really helped you in creating this book, or that was something interesting that you learned along the way?
Yeah, well, of course, I used a lot of technology. I guess the most basic thing that helps in putting a book together is anything being in the cloud. Being able to use Google Docs and Evernote and tools like that to be able to keep track of notes and references and photos of places that I visit. That was very handy in putting together a book project.
Let's pull up slide 4 too. And this, I think, there you are. Tell us.
At Kepler's.
Yeah, and then I put this photo of us with masks, because I think this is something that a technology we're not looking forward to continuing, although we're going to probably have to. We can pull that down. So that's Kepler's, which was that a book launch then, or?
Oh, no, that was actually just a couple of weeks ago, going to check out the book and sign copies of the book.
So you were there to sign?
I was, yes, exactly. Yeah. I've done a number of different book events at bookstores. I love to support our local independent bookstores. So Secret San Jose is available at all of our Santa Clara County and San Mateo County independent bookstores, as well as Barnes & Noble and other places.
Well, let's pull up another slide. The next question kind of goes together, and we could skip the first one, which is challenges and opportunities. So sometimes challenges create the accolades.
Yeah.
This I just put up here because I thought this was Kepler's too.
Yeah.
And I loved that it has so many Santa Clara County apricots grown. It shows all the different, there's so many stories, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
So why did you put this one in here too? This is.
Well, yeah, I think it is wonderful. People don't think about the Santa Clara Valley as having, having so many stories, but there are. And, I look to support people that are sharing stories of our history. We have a lot of important California history came out of our community. I like to share and support anyone who's talking about our history and promoting our community.
And so what's been the biggest accolade for you?
One of the benefits, I guess, would you say?
Or the biggest win, or
Yeah.
and maybe it's that you just bought a home here in San Jose.
Yes,
I mean, you had it.
absolutely.
Right?
Very lucky to have just bought a home in the Nagley Park neighborhood, and not too far from you.
Yeah.
Here in San Jose, that's been really wonderful. But related to the book project and generally anything that I'm writing about, my favorite thing is to talk to people that have found inspiration in the book and have taken it and gone and explored a new place. And I love to hear that someone has taken the book and taken it out with their family or friends to explore, and that they went someplace new. So that'll never get old.
It's always a challenge getting my 86-year-old mom out of the house now. So she read through it. I'm like, okay, let's take a little
find a place.
Let's take a little drive and try to get her out that way. Let's pull up the next slide here too. And here we go. So we got, what are you doing here? You're at another book signing? Or?
Yeah, that was at Barnes & Noble down on Blossom Hill.
So, and I'm imagining that you've probably been doing some Zoom readings, or have you been doing readings on?
Yes, absolutely. And most of my events, through the pandemic and through the initial launch of the book, that all came at the height of the pandemic. So everything was virtual, but I am excited that things are opening back up, and that we are able to do some events in person now. So I have been doing as many in-person book signings as I can, outdoors, socially distanced, masked, doing whatever we can to stay safe. But I'm very excited to be back.
Is there something the community can help you with?
I just like to hear that people are exploring, and that people are going out and finding new places in our community. So I love to hear stories about people going out and finding something new. So I think one of the benefits of, or one of the upsides of the pandemic is that all of us, including myself, have taken that opportunity to stay close to home and learn more about our local community. So we've gone out and spent a lot of time hiking and just exploring the wonderful things about living here. So there's nowhere else I would have rather been locked down than here in the Bay Area.
Pull that slide up and pull it back down really quick, because we have this little community slide that we put up. And do you ever have? So I guess you're not doing the travel blogging now, but if people are coming to the city of San Jose and doing your book, will you maybe have guest bloggers come on with you?
Of course. Yeah, exactly. And on my website, I do accept guests. I would accept guest posts on Secret San Jose as well, where I'm also publishing articles about.
It seems like there's so many amazing travel bloggers, right? We lost a good one. Was Anthony Bourdain? Last year, a year and a half ago. But
Such
there's
an inspiration for
there's
so
many amazing adventuresome bloggers. Do you have any events coming up, or do you have any events that I know you're going to do? You probably will do some book signings for people if they're interested.
Yeah, of course.
But is there any events? And I maybe I shouldn't spill the beans, but are you thinking about doing a scavenger hunt?
Well, that does bring me to, so in terms of events, through the rest of the year, I am planning to do a number of different events through the holiday season, book signings. You can check out secretsanjose.com for a list of all the upcoming events that I'm doing, both virtual and in person. That brings me to my second project. So I am working on a book that will be out next fall, and that will be a collection of scavenger hunts around the Santa Clara Valley. So walkable adventures that you can have exploring different communities all across the county. So
it's not a scavenger hunt with the Secret San Jose, it's an actual...
A number of different scavenger hunts in different communities around San Jose. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
And you're researching that now?
I am researching that right now, yes.
Okay. And you expect next fall for holiday season or what have you?
Exactly.
Yeah, and is it going to be a virtual downloadable book too, or?
There will be a digital component to it, and I'm working out exactly what that will look like. But yeah, exactly.
Let's pull up the next slide too. So here you are, speaking of events, what was this?
That was a sofa market just last weekend, actually.
In downtown San Jose?
In downtown San Jose.
Interesting. So usually they do the first Friday, right?
First Friday, exactly. A wonderful local market of creatives and artists, and I was excited to be able to be included there as a writer, which are not always remembered in terms of our creative local population. But
and how was that? Was it pretty well attended? Does it seem like things are picking back up?
It was wonderful.
Well, and I know they're doing some kind of new art installation theater type thing down there too. So that'll be
Yeah.
the next first Friday it may be open.
Yeah. Yes, the pandemic didn't squash the creativity that we have in our community, and there are a lot of people and organizations coming right back. So
We've got another slide here, and it's kind of a funny slide. We can pull this up. This is actually the Concierge Association of Silicon Valley at the
Okay.
Winchester Mystery House. They have this annual event, and usually there's like 1,000 people walking around the grounds. So of course my little bubble says, okay, maybe we'll get to this point at some point. And you've got, if kids in the audience can count how many little hidden things are there that are there, we may do a giveaway of your book. Maybe we didn't
cool.
bring an extra
Oh, I
book
love
today,
that. I love it.
but maybe
I have a give it one
and we'll leave
available.
that up there for a minute. But there's you can see there's some cats there, but there's also a couple other little things. And if you can guess how many correctly, then maybe we'll give a book away,
Cool.
and we can
Wonderful. Happy to.
pull that back down, and not to put you on the spot. So,
happy to. That sounds fun.
so is there any other annual events that you think are important for people that are visiting the Bay Area that they should go to?
Yeah, well, just through the holiday season, there's going to be so much going on. You mentioned the Winchester Mystery House. They, of course, have their holiday events are back. They're, for Halloween and Christmas through the winter holidays. They have a ton of fun events coming up.
Downtown San
festivals
Jose
are coming
has
back
so
as
many.
much as- exactly.
Yeah, the lights, and I know
Yes.
they did that at Kelly Park that last year. We'll see what
Yes.
happens this year with downtown
Yeah.
and the ice skating and all
Yeah.
that. If that'll actually open back up, or
Exactly.
what'll
The light,
happen.
the light show at History San Jose was really wonderful. The Christmas in the Park remake that they did last year was wonderful.
So you waited in those lines.
I did, and it was wonderful.
Was it a couple hour wait? Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
quite a long wait, so but yeah, it was worth it. It was a really remarkable light show, and I was excited for History San Jose to do that and to have that excuse to bring people into. They have a really wonderful and I think underappreciated facility there at Kelly Park.
So maybe when things are a little safer, I'm not wanting to do it yet, but maybe we can do an SVTAGS meetup.
Love it.
With something to do with one or both the books, maybe a precursor.
Perfect. Yeah, I'd love
maybe
that.
at the Winchester Mystery House. That would be kind of fun, since they have a great
Yeah.
garden out there. Is there any other news that you want to tell us about too?
No, just look for that that book coming up next year. I'm hard at work on that right now.
And then this one's still
Yes.
hot off the press.
I know, exactly.
Yeah. And any other collaborations that you think about or that you may want to ask about of anybody?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I am eager to do any kind of events to talk about this. I absolutely love talking about places and talking about our communities. I'm happy to do events with any community group or school or business or nonprofit or anything like that. So happy to.
So if there's any
collaborate.
final thoughts that you have, or is there any one thing that you want to leave with the audience too, or is there one thing you want to leave and a final thought?
Okay.
Two separate things.
Well, I think as I think I said before, I'm so excited that people are out exploring our community and understanding, finding some of the hidden gems that we have, some of the really interesting and unique history that we have here in our community. So anything I can do to help promote our community and get people outside exploring, I'm eager to do that, and I love hearing people's stories about their local exploration. So just get out there and look close to home for some of your local adventures.
Is there one thing you want people to remember about the book too? I mean, there's so many. Again, I've got things earmarked in here that are just so great. The furry friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really
absolutely.
fun.
Yeah, people have said, some people say, oh, I'm born and raised here. I'm born and raised here. There's nothing that'll surprise me. But everyone who has read it that is born and raised here in San Jose has said that they learned a lot. They may recognize a few of the places, but there's a lot of history and context in there that is new to a lot of readers. So there's something in there for everyone.
Well, thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you so much,
Really
Heather.
pleasure. This is actually our first time back in the studio. Yay!
Oh, I'm so honored to be back.
So
Be here with you and
yeah,
celebrate
and
this.
I'm glad that the folks here at Create TV are here. They're going to be moving soon to a new studio. That'll be exciting. To the audience, thank you so much for joining us. You can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and we're starting a new series of Women in Media. We pre-interviewed some people before the pandemic that we're going to be doing on Zoom for the first one, maybe the first two ones, and then a live event as well.
Could you try again?
Apple's listening to me. Make this a great tags week by conserving, reusing, rethinking, and choosing the way that you can live here in Silicon Valley and beyond. Make this a great week. Thank you.